Wikipedia wik-ih-PEE-dee-ə or wik-ih is a multilingual free online encyclopedia written and maintained by a community of volunteers through open collaboration in a wiki-based editing system. Its editors are known as Wikipedians. Wikipedia is the largest and most read reference work in history. It is consistently one of the 10 most popular websites ranked by SimilarWeb and formerly Alexa. As of 2022, Wikipedia was ranked the 7th most popular site. It is hosted by the Wikimedia Foundation, an American non-profit organization funded mainly through donations. On January 15, 2001, Jimmy Wales and Larry Sanger launched Wikipedia. Sanger coined its name as a blend of wiki and encyclopedia. Wales was influenced by the spontaneous order ideas associated with Friedrich Hayek and the Austrian School of Economics after being exposed to these ideas by Austrian economist and Mises Institute senior fellow Mark Thornton. Initially available only in English, versions in other languages were quickly developed. Its combined editions comprise more than 59 million articles, attracting around 2 billion unique device visits per month and more than 17 million edits per month as of November 2020. In 2006, Time magazine stated that the policy of allowing anyone to edit had made Wikipedia the biggest encyclopedia in the world. Wikipedia has received praise for its enablement of the democratization of knowledge, extent of coverage, unique structure, culture, and reduced degree of commercial bias, but criticism for exhibiting systemic bias, particularly gender bias against women and alleged ideological bias. The reliability of Wikipedia was frequently criticized in the 2000s, but has improved over time, as Wikipedia has been generally praised in the late 2010s and early 2020s. The website's coverage of controversial topics such as American politics and major events like the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine has received substantial media attention. It has been censored by world governments, ranging from specific pages to the entire site. In April 2018, Facebook and YouTube announced that they would help users detect fake news by suggesting fact-checking links to related Wikipedia articles. Articles on breaking news are often accessed as a source of frequently updated information about those events. Premise: Emily in Paris follows Emily Cooper, a college graduate American with a master's degree in marketing in her late 20s from Chicago, who moves to Paris for an unexpected job opportunity. She is tasked with bringing an American point of view to a venerable French marketing firm. Cultures clash as she adjusts to the challenges of life in Paris while juggling her career, new friendships, and active love life. Cast and characters. Main: Lily Collins as Emily Cooper, a 29-year-old who moves from Chicago to Paris for a temporary social media strategy job at Savoir. Philippine Leroy Bewley as Sylvie, Emily's tough and bitter boss at Savoir in Paris. Ashley Park as Mindy Chen, a Chinese-Korean former nanny and aspiring singer who is Emily's first friend in Paris. Mindy is the heir of a Singapore business magnate from whom she is currently estranged. Lucas Bravo as Gabriel, Emily's attractive downstairs neighbor who is the head chef at Chez La Vase. He is also Emily's love interest and Camille's boyfriend. Samuel Arnold as Julian, Emily's co-worker, trendy and high drama. He forms a funny duo with Luke. Bruno Guerri as Luke, Emily's quirky other co-worker, who forms a humorous duo with Julian. Camille Rayzat as Camille, Emily's new friend and Gabriel's girlfriend. William Abadi as Antoine Lambert, Emily's client who owns a perfume company called Maison Lavaz and is having a long-standing affair with Sylvie. Lucien Laviscount as Alfie, an English banker in Emily's French class, who becomes Emily's love interest. Recurring: Kate Walsh as Madeline Wheeler, Emily's boss in Chicago who cannot take the job in Paris after learning that she is pregnant. Jean-Christophe Bouvet as Pierre Cadalt, a famous flamboyant French designer and uncle of Matthew. Charles Martins as Matthew Cadalt, a businessman who becomes Emily's love interest in the first season. Céline Menville as Jacqueline, Emily's French teacher. Kevin Diaz as Benoit, Mindy's love interest and a member of her band. Jin Xian Mao as Etienne, a member of Mindy's band. Guest: Charlie Fouquet as Catherine Lambert, Antoine's wife. Edith L. Emerdy as Emily's concierge. Camille JP as Louise, Camille's mother. Christophe Guibet as Gerard, Camille's father. Victor Moudelet as Timothy, the younger brother of Camille. Hanny Clorac-Bailey and Titouan Clorac-Bailey as Sybil and Laurent Dupont, the two children that Mindy nannies. Arnaud Viard as Paul Brassard, the owner of Savoir. Rohar Tramph as Doug, Emily's former boyfriend in Chicago. Claude Perron as Patricia, an employee at Savoir. Ian Bailey as Randy Zimmer, a well-known hotel owner. Alexandra Yermak as Clara, representative of Haysons, a Swedish luxury bed maker. Julian Florian Sig as Thomas, a French snobbish philosophy professor. Carlson Young as Brooklyn Clark, a young and famous American actress. Elizabeth Tan as Lee, Mindy's best friend who has brought her 5 bridesmaids to Paris to shop for her bride's dress. David Pratt as Theo, Camille's other brother. Faith Prince as Judith Robertson, a member of the American Friends of the Louvre. Isaiah Hodges and Christophe Tech as Grey Space, a duo of avant-garde designers. Arnaud Beinard as Laurent Gradiat, Sylvie's husband. Jeremy O'Harris as Gregory Elliott Dupree, Pierre Cadalt's rival. Daria Panchenko as Petra, a woman in Emily's French class. Sren Bragendel as Eric de Groot, a photographer and Sylvie's love interest. Ellen von Unworth as herself, a photographer hired for Pierre Cadalt's photo shoot. Julian Lumen as Gerhard, Ellen von Unworth as agent and Julian's potential love interest. Alice Reverend as Natalie, a bartender at Chez La Vase. Luca Ivola as Raphael, a new sous chef at Gabriel's restaurant. C'est du Bar Restaurant. Episodes. Series overview. Season 1. Season 2. Production. Development. On September 5, 2018, it was announced that Paramount Network had given the production a series order for a first season consisting of 10 episodes. The series was created by Darren Star, who has a multi-year overall deal with Viacom CBS and develops for Viacom CBS and for outsider buyers via MTV Entertainment Studios. Star was also expected to serve as an executive producer alongside Tony Hernandez. Production companies involved with the series were slated to consist of Jax Media. On July 13, 2020, it was reported that the series would move from Paramount Network to Netflix. On November 11, 2020, Netflix renewed the series for a second season. On January 10, 2022, Netflix renewed the series for a third and fourth season. Casting. On April 3, 2019, Lily Collins was cast in the eponymous role. On August 13, 2019, Ashley Park had joined the main cast. On September 19, 2019, Philippine Leroy Bewley, Lucas Bravo, Samuel Arnold, Camille Razet, and Bruno Goury joined cast in starring roles, while Kate Walsh, William Abadi, and Arnaud Viard were cast in recurring roles. On May 24, 2021, Lucienne Laviscount was cast in recurring role, while Abadi was promoted to series regular for the second season. On April 10, 2022, Laviscount was promoted to series regular for the third season. Filming. Principal photography for the first season, in Paris and its suburbs, was expected to begin in early 2019, but began in August 2019. Many scenes are filmed at Place de l'Estrapade in the 5th arrondissement, including the site of Emily's first apartment, the restaurant, and the bakery. Some scenes are also filmed at Site du Cinéma, a film studio complex in Saint-Denis. Famous Parisian sites to feature in the series include Le Grand V4, the Pont Alexandre III, Palais Garni, Atelier des Lumières, Rue de l'Abreuvoir, Jardin du Luxembourg, Jardin du Palais Royal, Café de Flore and the Pantheon. An episode was also filmed at the Château de Sanaï in the department of Indre-et-Loire. Additional photography took place in Chicago during November 2019. Filming for the second season began on May 3, 2021 and concluded on July 19, 2021. New filming locations for the second season include Monet de Paris, Musée des Arts Forains, Haïti-Agora, Saint-Tropez, Palace of Versailles, Villefranche-sur-Mer, Grand Hotel du Cap Ferrat, and other locations in France. Filming of the second season in Paris caused problems within the 5th arrondissement, with the residents deeming the crew as brutal, threatening and too intrusive. Lily Collins stated that the second season was set in a COVID-19 free world, as the decision was made by the producers to ensure escapism through joy and laughter. In scenes that involved crowds, masks were off when they were on camera, and back on once completed, which Collins stated was difficult to pull off. Production on Season 3 of Emily in Paris began in early June 2022. Soundtrack. In October 2020, Ashley Parks' La Vie en Rose, a cappella, as Mindy Chen, was heard in Episode 6, was posted on Emily in Paris's Instagram and debuted at number 1, on Billboard's Top TV Songs chart, powered by TuneFind. Episode 3's Kid Francescoli's Moon debuted at number 4, and Episode 10's Cavales Burst into Flames debuted at number 7. Alter K, a French music publisher and distributor, made significant contributions to the soundtrack, with half of the songs being from Alter K's catalog. James Newton Howard composed the theme music. Release. The series' first season was released by Netflix on October 2, 2020. The second season was released on December 22, 2021. A DVD release for Season 1 was released on November 9, 2021. The third season is slated to be released on December 21, 2022. Reception. Critical response. For the first season, review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 63% based on 55 reviews, with an average rating of 5.81/10. The website's critics' consensus reads, though its depiction of France is très cliché, Emily in Paris is rom-com fantasy at its finest, spectacularly dressed and filled with charming performances. Metacritic gave the first season a weighted average score of 60 out of 100 based on 17 reviews, indicating mixed or average reviews. The second season has a 67% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 21 reviews, with an average rating of 5.2/10. The website's critics' consensus states, Emily in Paris remains a sugary souffle, but it's liable to give a toothache to viewers who are seeking anything deeper than a frivolous romp. On Metacritic, the second season received a score of 64 based on reviews from 11 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Daniel D'Addario of Variety described the series as a delight that poses the question of what it really means to grow up, against a truly inviting backdrop, and that Collins is an inherently winsome performer who has never been quite as well used as she is here. Kristen Baldwin of Entertainment Weekly gave the series a B and wrote, "If you need a 5-hour brain vacation, Paris is a worthwhile destination." The New Zealand Herald considered the show visually delectable and that Collins has a pixie-ish charm which makes her endearing, but also that the show is as ephemeral as fairy floss. However, Kristen Lopez of IndieWire wrote a review Metacritic graded as a 23 out of 100, praising Collins for being a jewel, Make no mistake in that Emily in Paris is only as watchable and frivolous as its leading lady, but warning viewers, Emily in Paris is like scrolling through Instagram. It's a great way to waste time looking at pretty pictures with no depth. Nevertheless, not all critics were kind to the Emily character. Emma Gray from HuffPost called Emily a bland character, stating the show doesn't even make an effort to quirk her up or give her a more relatable, girl-next-door roughness. She's always immaculately coiffed and made up, and garbed in effortfully eye-catching outfits. But there's not much to the character, except for enormous amounts of self-confidence and the inexplicable ability to attract new friends and love interests on every street corner. Rebecca Nicholson of The Guardian gave the series 1 out of 5 stars. If it is an attempt to fluff up the rom-com for the streaming age, then it falls over on its 6-inch heels. Rachel Handler opined Darren Star has done it yet again, centered an entire show on a thin, gently delusional white woman whimsically exploring a major metropolitan area in wildly expensive couture purchased on a mid-level salary. Sarah Moros, of Vulture.com, opined the most egregious oversight is Emily herself, who shows zero personal growth over a 10-episode arc. Emily's vapidity is baffling to anyone who has moved from their native country. Sonia Rao, of The Washington Post, compares Emily to the heroines of the Amy Sherman Palladino universe. Like the Gilmore Girls, Emily is strong-willed and refuses to let anything get in the way of her schemes. Like Midge Meisel, her actions can be quite rash, but she still wins over her fictional acquaintances while utterly baffling viewers. Some critics appeared ambivalent, such as Joe Ellison writing for the Financial Times. On one hand, she expresses admiration for the way Darren Star manages to depict a version of womanhood in which promiscuity, bossiness, and shopaholicism are depicted as qualities to be celebrated. On the other, the major plot lines might have been written in the 1940s and the Frenchies are routinely cast as vain, preening and parochial. She concludes, cliché-ridden and completely outdated, Darren Star's Sex and the City will no doubt be monstrously successful. Many French critics condemned the show for negatively stereotyping Parisians and the French. Charles Martin wrote in Premiere that the show unfairly stereotyped and depicted the French as lazy, never arrive at the office before the end of the morning, are flirtatious and not really attached to the concept of loyalty, are sexist and backward, and have a questionable relationship with showering. A reviewer at Sense Critique wrote, Emily in Paris projects the same twee, unrealistic image of Paris that the film Amélie does. RTL.fr wrote, rarely had we seen so many clichés on the French capital since the Parisian episodes of Gossip Girl or the end of The Devil Wears Prada. Megan Garber of The Atlantic was critical of the character Emily, writing, an expat who acts like a tourist, she judges everything against the backdrop of her own rigid Americanness. You might figure that those moments are evidence of a show poking fun at its protagonist's arrogance, or setting the stage for her to grow beyond her initial provincialism. But, you would be, as I was, mostly incorrect. Instead, other people change around her. They grudgingly concede that her way is the right way. The show, the latest from the Sex and the City creator Darren Star, is selling several fantasies. Primary among them is the notion that Emily can bulldoze her way through France and be celebrated for it. The second season met with controversy in Ukraine over the depiction of a Ukrainian character named Petra who was depicted as a petty thief and shoplifter, with the hashtag trending for a matter of hours. The Ukrainian Minister of Culture, Oleksandr Tkachenko, wrote on the social media platform Telegram, in Emily in Paris, we have a caricature image of a Ukrainian woman that is unacceptable. It is also insulting. He also wrote a letter to Netflix complaining about the depiction of Petra. According to Tkachenko, Netflix sent a response saying that they had heard the dissatisfaction of Ukrainian viewers, and that in 2022 Petra would be shown in a different context. Audience viewership. For the week of October 5, 2020, Emily in Paris reached the top 10 list of most watched streaming shows per Nielsen. On May 3, 2021, Netflix revealed that the series has been watched by 58 million households in the month after its debut. The series remained in UK top 10 list for 40 consecutive days after its release. Award controversy. The show received 2 nominations at the Golden Globe Awards, but prior to the ceremony it was reported that 30 members of the voting body had been flown to Paris, where they spent 2 nights at the Peninsula Paris and were treated to a private lunch at the Musée des Arts Forains, with the bill reportedly paid by the show's developer, Paramount Network. This led some critics to question the impartiality of the voting body, as Emily in Paris is considered to have been a critical flop, and its nomination was a surprise. In contrast, critically acclaimed shows, notably I May Destroy You, were not nominated.